I'm sure you've given many sales pitches in your life, and you've given amazing sales pitches in your life. You might be a CEO, you might be a sales lead, and you go to a POC of a point of contact in a prospect company and you give this amazing sales pitch. You come back and you're thrilled because it is just great. You already nailed it and you expect it to be closed. However, you don't hear back. How many times this has happened? The idea is that the POC, even though they were thrilled by your pitch, are not able to recreate it towards the people that actually matter. They go back to the influencer, they go back to the decision maker, they go back to the CEO of the actual prospect, the client, and they go back and tell them, "Hey, this XYZ company had come in and they have a great idea, they have a great product." And then that CEO of the prospect company asks them, "What did you do?" The POC is not able to say exactly what your product does. You know why? Because your pitch, even though it was great, it's not decipherable, it is not repeatable, it is not something that can be recreated at the drop of a hat. That's what happens. The elevator pitch is flawed. The idea of the elevator pitch, even though it's great, is if it doesn't really pass the second hand pitch test, it is deeply, deeply flawed. So that brings us to the point of this video. What is the second hand pitch? What is the second hand pitch? Now, before I tell you about the second hand pitch, I have to tell you about the Whispers game, the Chinese Whispers game, right? But I don't like to call it that. This Whispers game, you might have heard about it, you might have played that in your HR retreats. This is where one person says something in another person's ear, the other person has to repeat it in the third person's ear, and so on and so forth. The idea is that the message has to be repeated exactly, accurately through the chain. The last person says the final message out loud. The fun of the game is more often than not, the message will be distorted. This is what happens in reality. The idea is when that POC hears this wonderful, amazing elevator pitch, they are thrilled, but they are not able to recreate it. As I said, the idea is that you take your grand elevator pitch and you break it down into recall worthy elements. Now, these recall worthy elements you associate with what's in it for me essence. What's in it for me essence will have the need factors. For example, if you are selling newsletter automation will have all the features, and you go in your demo pitch and you list all of them, which is great. But if you had the presence of mind to just plug in the idea into the POC's mind, that we make sure that your mails land in the inbox 80 to 90% of the time. So this is something that is a core need for them. So this is has a very high recall value. Now, when this POC goes to the CEO, they might not remember all the automation feature and everything because that's kind of the norm. They will be evaluating all of the other competition. But this is something, the 80 to 90% delivery rate, or maybe the higher, something like that. So this is something that might stand out for you. Now, what you just did is create a better pitch. You elevated the elevator pitch by infusing some hooks into it that helps your POC make a better job of recreating it multiple times in maybe not the best language that you had, but in their own language, in their own style, in their own basic need analysis of it. This is the idea. Don't think of elevator pitches as the need all and end all of things. No, this elevator pitches are great and they should be great because they are the foundation of things. They should not be the bottlenecks that they sometimes become because the CEOs and the sales lead cannot be at all places at the same time. In many companies, they are spread thin in getting clients and closing them all the time. These second-hand pitches, by the way, can also be a great tool for onboarding, for training, and for getting the internal communication, internal branding on point. So I really believe that getting the second-hand pitches on the priority list for companies should be the go-to move for every and single startup who's trying to find their brand voice, and it should be done on, as I said, on priority.